Welcome to the review of Golden Kamuy Season 3. Now onto the episodes. Karafuto begins with Sugimoto and the 7th Division arriving in Karafuto. Sugimoto's group looks for information about Ushirpa. The group learns that Ushirpa was in Karafuto. The group finds an Ainu girl. The group escapes a Wolverine attack. Toshizo's group leaves Abashiri. Sugimoto's group arrives in an Ainu village. The Ainu girl introduces herself as Inonoka. Sugimoto's group learns that Ushirpa and the others are going north. Sugimoto's group arrives in an Russian village. One of the dogs get taken. A Russian asks Sugimoto to join the Stenka to get the dog back. Sugimoto's group learns that Ushirpa's group was looking for people with tattoos. Sugimoto's group learns that a Stenka is a fight. Sugimoto's group learns of a tattooed man that joins Stenka if someone is entertaining. Karafuto ends with Sugimoto's group winning the Stenka. Stenka begins with Sugimoto meeting the tattooed man named Miharu. Sugimoto's group threatens the man that took the dog. The group joins another Stenka. The Stenka gets out of control. Sugimoto fights the audience. Sugimoto's group chases after Miharu. Inonoka and Shikapashi plan to save the dog. Sugimoto's group gets trapped in a steam bath by a Wolverine. Inonoka and Shikapashi save the dog. The duo gets chased by the Wolverine. Shikapashi kills the Wolverine. Sugimoto fights Miharu. Stenka ends with Miharu informing Sugimoto that Ushirpa still believes that Sugimoto is alive. Igogusa begins with Ushirpa learning about a village her father grew up in. Ogata and Kiroranka plan to gain Ushirpa's trust. Tsukishima remembers telling Tsurumi how ended up in death row for killing his father for lying about him. Tsukishima remembers Tsurumi find information that it was a plot to get the girl he liked named Igogusa married to someone else. Tsukishima remembers Tsurumi taking him off of death row to help fight against the Russians. 9 years later Tsukishima learned from a fellow soldier that Tsurumi lied to him and his father killed Igogusa. Tsukishima and Tsurumi get injured in the war against the Russians. Tsukishima remembers Tsurumi informing him that he lied about his father killing Igogusa to get him off of death row. Igogusa ends with Tsurumi putting on his face shield. The immortal Sugimoto harakiri show begins with Ushirpa's group hanging out. Sugimoto's group gets a tattooed skin stolen. Sugimoto's group chases down the thief at a circus. Sugimoto's group joins the circus. Sugimoto's group trains for the circus. The circus begins. Tsukishima sabotages Koito's performance. Koito sabotages Sugimoto's performance with a real blade. Sugimoto's performance gets interrupted by Russians. The circus ends. Sugimoto's group learns that the Russians were after Ringmaster Yamada, who was formerly in the Imperial Army. The immortal Sugimoto harakiri show ends with Sugimoto's group getting a possible lead from Yamada about Ushirpa's group. The border begins with Ushirpa's group continuing forward. Ushirpa's group meets with an indigenous group named Wielta. The group hangs out with the Wielta. The group gets help from the Wielta to cross the border. The group gets attacked by Russians. The group gets away. The Russians pursues the group. The border ends with the groups waiting for the Russians to attack. Bad sign begins with Kiroranka telling the group why the Russians are after him. Ogata kills a Russian. Ogata remembers his brother. Ogata gets sick. The group hangs out with the Wielta. Ogata remembers killing his brother. The group gets their fortune told. The group leaves the Wielta. Bad sign ends with the group's fortune turning bad. Meko Oyasi begins with Sugimoto's group traveling through a blizzard. Half of Sugimoto's group gets separated. Sugimoto reflects on when it was cold in the past. Koito and Tsukishima looks for Sugimoto and the others from a lighthouse. The group meets up in the lighthouse. The group hangs out. The group learns about the Russian couple that are letting them stay at the lighthouse. The group learns that the couple's daughter ran off. Sugimoto plans to help look for the daughter. Sugimoto leaves a photo for the couple in case Ushirpa visits. Sugimoto looks for information about Ushirpa and the daughter's location. The group learns about a cat known as Meko Oyasi. Ushirpa's group talks about Meko Oyasi. Kiroranka tells Ushirpa about an old friend of her dad named Sophia. Kiroranka informs the group that Sophia is in a Russian prison. Meko Oyasi ends with Ushirpa's group continuing forward. Manslayer begins with Tsurumi admiring the tattooed skins. Toshizo's group asks around about an item they found at Abashiri. The group learns that it is a part of a beak. Toshizo group gets help from an Ainu named Karashi. Toshizo tells his group about a man named Shinzo who is known as Manslayer. Toshizo's group learns more about Shinzo. Assassins look for Shinzo. The assassins find Shinzo. Toshizo finds Shinzo. The groups fight. Shinzo flees. Toshizo and Shinzo talk. Toshizo wounds Shinzo. Toshizo gives Shinzo the beak that was given to Shinzo by his wife. Shinzo dies. Ushirpa's group hangs out. Manslayer ends with Ushirpa's group planning to break Sophia and all the prisoners out of prison in Akko. Revolutionary begins with Sugimoto's group continuing to track down Ushirpa. Shiraishi delivers an item to Sophia. Kiroranka tells the group about a man named Hasegawa that he, Sophia and Wilk met. Kiroranka remembers when they were confronted by the secret police. Hasegawa's wife and child gets killed. Kiroranka, Sophia and Wilk flee. Sophia parts ways with Kiroranka and Wilk. Ushirpa's group waits for ice to form so the land will be connected. Hasegawa reveals to his dying wife that he is actually Tsurumi. Revolutionary ends with Tsurumi killing off his identity as Hasegawa. Catching up to the wolf begins with Ushirpa's group continuing their plan to free Sophia and her group. Sugimoto's group and prison guards of Akko hear an explosion at the prison. The prisoners begin their escape through a hole. Sophia meets up with Ushirpa and the others. Ushirpa learns more about Wilk from Sophia. Sugimoto's group gets closer to finding Ushirpa and the others. Shiraishi gets separated from the group. Ushirpa remembers what her father's name means. Catching up to the wolf ends with Sugimoto saving Shiraishi from falling into the water. Sin and impurity begins with Sugimoto informing Shiraishi that Ogata and Kiroranka shot him. Ogata questions Ushirpa. Tsukishima finds the daughter of the lighthouse owners. Sugimoto's group fights off Russians. Ogata informs Ushirpa that Kiroranka got her father killed. Ogata lies to Ushirpa. Ushirpa gets suspicious of Ogata. Ogata tells Ushirpa that he killed her father. Ushirpa shoots Ogata. Sugimoto stops Ogata from dying. Sugimoto and Ushirpa reunite. Sin and impurity ends with Koito fighting Kiroranka. To Live begins with Sugimoto telling Ushirpa the reason why Kiroranka got her father killed. Kiroranka dies from injuries caused by Sugimoto's group. Sophia returns with her friends. Sugimoto and the others arrive in a village. The daughter leaves the group. The group visits a doctor. Ogata escapes. To Live ends with the group planning their next move. That was Golden Kamuy Season 3. Now onto my final thoughts. Starting with the good, the characters, comedy and story, the opening theme Grey by Fomer. The ending theme Yusetsu by The Sixth Lie. There was nothing I would consider bad. Overall I would give it an 8 out of 10.